In today's video, we have a lot to cover, including the latest trade talk around the Montreal Canadiens and the Edmonton Oilers. We have the latest on Patrick Kane and where he may end up signing here in the next few days. We also have an update on Corey Perry and the bizarre situation with the Chicago Blackhawks. Ryan Hartman has been suspended, and we have a whole lot other details and news from around the NHL. A lot coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have a lot to cover here today, so let's dive right in and get started. First up, we got news from the Department of NHL Player Safety. Just a short time ago, the Minnesota Wild forward Ryan Hartman has been suspended for 2 games for the slew foot that happened against the Detroit Red Wings and forward Alex DeBrincat. Of course, no big surprise here. We knew there was a hearing today, and I knew based on his prior record, you could say, as well as the fact that he had a hearing. You'd hardly ever see a hearing take place without a suspension coming from it. It's pretty rare. I'm a little bit surprised he didn't get more games. Not that it was justified based on this scenario, just on the fact that he's got a long record of being fined and suspended before. But 2 games for Ryan Hartman, based on what happened, is probably fair in that situation. There was no injury on the play. DeBrincat was able to continue playing. Just not a good look and something that we really don't want to see in the game. And of course, earlier, just a short time ago, a video was posted as well on the channel, so if you want more of an in-depth analysis, you can check out the other video. But the Wild also made a coaching change tonight, removing Dean Evason and relieving him of his duties as head coach of Minnesota, as well as one of his assistants, and they've now replaced him. Hasn't been officially announced, but it's expected to be John Hynes. Of course, John Hynes coached in New Jersey and in Nashville. Same sort of record as Evason, really, when it comes to regular season play. But again, neither coach has had any playoff success. Put in their time in the minors as well. But at the end of the day, I don't know that this is really an upgrade for John Hynes. Like, he's a well-respected coach. He's always been somebody that the NHL circles have been fond of, but not a ton of success to really go at that level. So, you could argue that the teams that Hynes have coached in the past might have even been more talented than what Evason had in Minnesota too. So I don't know if it's really an upgrade per se, and I don't know what the contract's going to be that they're going to sign Hynes to. For the rest of this year, I think it's fine. Much beyond that, it's difficult to say though. Obviously, John Hynes will see if he can get some different results here. But I think more than anything, they just needed a new voice. And like I said in the video, Bill Guerin kind of painted himself into a corner that majority of his trade chips, like everybody who was most of the relevant pending UFAs going into the season, he extended them all. So you're kind of stuck with these players. And not a lot of, not that you can't make trades, but they're not easy to do, especially when your team is not performing. So therefore, kind of had no choice. If you're going to make a change, it was going to be the coach. And I think Evason's hard-nosed style was kind of wearing on some of the players too. So we'll see if a new voice can get things going there. Former NHL coach Dallas Eakins. Of course, he's worked with a few teams around the NHL. Most recently with the Anaheim Ducks. Of course, worked with the Leafs in the past, the Oilers. He's heading overseas. He's actually going to be the new head coach and general manager of Adler Manheim in the German league. So that's a big step forward for him. Obviously, Eakins has some aspirations to possibly get into hockey management down the road. It's believed as well during the new women's league, the PWHL, that he was in the mix for a GM job there, but didn't end up getting the job. So this was another opportunity. Of course, way back, I think it was 2011 when Brian Burke was the GM of the Leafs. He actually had created I don't know if I would call it a partnership or what have you, but there was like an agreement with with Adler Manheim that they were going to do some training back and forth and send some players, or some, not the players, but the coaches over to kind of learn some different things. And Dallas Eakins was with the Marlies at the time, so he certainly got to know some of the staff and ownership over there a little bit. Probably helped him get this job, but he'll go over there for the next little while, and you never know. Dallas Eakins could reappear as an NHL GM down the road. Hard to say, but it's going to be a new role for him as he takes on not only coaching but into management as well. A couple other roster updates as well. The Islanders today placed the defenseman Sebastian Aho on injured reserve. Of course, he was injured along with Adam Pelech the other night against the Sens. Pelech went on LTIR immediately after the game, but Aho was not placed on IR immediately, but has been now. Cal Clutterbuck and Simon Holmstrom also considered day-to-day due to illness. Maple Leafs also returned Alex Steeves back to the Toronto Marlies today as well to reduce their roster. Now, on to a couple of other notes around the NHL. Let's talk first about the Edmonton Oilers. They're suddenly finding themselves on a bit of a winning streak. Are the Oilers back, or is it too early to say that? I think it's a little premature, but they're trending in the right direction. But I know I watched most of last night's game against the Anaheim Ducks, and even though they had a big result and ended up scoring a pile of goals and winning by 6, the first period was not a Picasso by any means. And I tell you, the 2 goals that the Ducks scored early in the first period were not great goals. Stuart Skinner started off shaky. Thankfully, he kind of settled in, and the team in front of him kind of got better as the game went on, and they held the puck a lot, which kind of reduced their chances. But as much as McDavid's much better, like he's got 9 points in his last 2 games, picked up a goal and 4 assists last night. Obviously, he's doing better. Some people are speculating as well that McDavid might be feeling a lot better and might be healthier now. If you notice, McDavid is kind of known for having his jersey tucked in, and he hadn't done that. His jersey was out for the last number of games, but he went back to tucking it in last night, and some people thought maybe he was covering something that he didn't want to see. Maybe there was some extra padding or something, because, you know, when he was having issues before, it was believed to be like the low back or like above the hip area. And I don't know, it could be that maybe there was something extra that he had to wear that would have been obvious. Didn't want the injury to be so obvious. I don't know. But he's certainly playing better, looks himself. At the end of the day, that's a huge help to the Oilers to play better. But I still think at the end of the day, based on what we hear from all the reporters and just what common sense tells us, they still need goaltending help. Stuart Skinner, I think, will do better by playing less, having less pressure on him. And they need another goaltender who can at least run in a tandem with him, if not be more of a starter. I'm not sure how they're going to pull that off, but it is believed the Oilers are still looking for goaltending help. We've talked a lot about in the last number of days, different options between the guys in Montreal, Carter Hart, Peter Mrazek in Chicago, all kinds of different theories that have been out there and rumors floating around. And it's hard to say. I know the Oilers, according to Elliot Friedman, would prefer for Jack Campbell to kind of get his act together, find his game, and come back. But that's, hard to say for sure that it can happen. They may very well call him up and give him another chance, though, before they make a trade, considering how expensive it's going to be. But for right now, the Oilers are enjoying more success. Looks like the minimum number of points to get into the playoffs in the West is going to be a lot lower than usual this year, which is going to help them kind of, maybe get back in here. But we'll see. Let me know your thoughts on the Oilers and how they've been doing a little bit better. Some other news around the league. We should have some clarity on John Klingberg hopefully in the next few days. GM of the Leafs, Brad Treliving, was talking today, saying that he's seeing a specialist in New York, and they should have clarity here soon in the coming days once they know the outcome of those appointments. Or kind of evaluating some different options, essentially looking at some surgical options, rehab, what he needs to get better. Treliving said that John Klingberg was injured in the Panthers game on October 19th, is when this injury got flared up. But he's also saying that the Leafs were not aware of ongoing issues with the hips and things that, prior to signing him, but they signed him unbeknownst to that. So, I don't know. I kind of wonder because, when Klingberg was leaving Dallas a couple of years back, he turned down a lucrative long-term deal, and it made you wonder why, because obviously he thought he could get more money in the market. Obviously, a lot of teams shied away, and you could make an argument that his defensive play might have been part of that, and that, obviously he's going to give you good offensive numbers, but if the defense doesn't go with it, do they want that kind of player? But I wonder if they had more of an inside track on this ongoing issue that he's been having with his hips and seen him as being more of a liability. You gotta wonder if there's more to that. I don't know how Toronto would not have known that. That's surprising to me, but we'll see. Of course, assuming he does have season-ending surgery and ends up on LTIR for the rest of the year, once that's confirmed, I fully suspect, it might not happen immediately because the Leafs will likely take their time, make sure they get it right, but I know that the GM there, Brad Treliving, will be wanting to be making some blue line adjustments, and I suspect we'll see some of the trades we've been talking about, whether it be Nikita Zadorov or one of the other Flames guys or somebody else that they can bring in to kind of restructure that decor in Toronto. So I do expect the Leafs to be busy once they know the outcome of that, assuming it is going to be season-ending surgery, which a lot of people think is going to be the case. Patrick Kane, where's he going to go and where's he going to sign? I mean, what's the latest? Well, Elliotte Friedman on his podcast this morning seems to think that Detroit has kind of become the front runner. Now, we wouldn't rule out other teams. He even mentioned today the Boston Bruins kind of kicking tires, getting involved, being in the mix there. He still seems to think if things could work out for him that Kane really likes Dallas, but a lot of other sources have been saying he's going to stay east because of the easier travel schedule. But a lot of talk that Kane really likes Dallas. Of course, the Florida Panthers have been aggressive in pursuing Kane as well. I don't think you can completely rule out his hometown Buffalo Sabres right now either. But of course, the Sabres have had not a great start to the campaign. It could be a way to jolt their roster, but at the same time as that, are they going to go out and do that? Is he going to want to do that as well on a team that's underperforming? That's difficult to say. I mean, I do see there being a fit, and I do see there being an opportunity for him to play in Buffalo. I just don't know that he's going to want to. Of course, Detroit has the space as well. Again, I also see the fit and the options there. Florida works. Boston, I guess if they're looking at the fact that the center ice position has not been weakened to the point that they thought it would be with Charlie Coyle, Pavel Zacha kind of running the top two pivots and Poitras coming in as a rookie, then maybe they'll focus more on the wings to be able to upgrade the scoring. And Kane could be a great fit there as well. But right now, according to Elliotte Friedman, it sounds like Detroit's the leading contender, but we probably will know for sure. I expect a signing sometime this week. So we'll see where things go on that front. Friedman's also talked about the Devils today on his podcast, which is not surprising given how they've been underperforming as well. I guess they've dealt with some serious injuries between Hischier and Hughes being out, and that certainly does not help matters. Meyer's been out as well. But their goaltending has been very subpar. Both Vanacek and Schmid have both been under 900 save percentage. They're not kind of getting the job done. Yes, the team in front of them plays a role in that, but at the end of the day, they do need better. So obviously they're going to take their time and be careful here. They're not going to make a knee-jerk reaction, but Friedman says he suspects that Fitzgerald, the GM of the Devils, is definitely out there taking a look around, trying to see what they can do and figure out how to move forward, especially in the goaltending area. So again, a lot of the same goalies that we've looked at before would be in the mix here for New Jersey, like the Oilers. There's only so many out there on the market. Obviously, Schmid can go back to the minors without waivers. That's the easier option. And then, of course, they still have Vanacek, who could be part of the duo here. But they need another goalie. Ideally, if this team is going to have a chance to get back and kind of build on what they built last year, if they want to take it a step further, they need better goaltending. Then there's just no other way around it. From there, Corey Perry. What is going on with the Blackhawks and Corey Perry? We still don't really have any concrete clarity on this situation, but we do know yesterday, and we talked about this in yesterday's video, that the team and the player both put statements out. The team put out a statement saying this was an organizational decision and that he would be away from the team for the foreseeable future, and they weren't going to talk about it any more than that. When asked if it was trade related, all GM Kyle Davidson would say was that it would be irresponsible of him to kind of rule anything out, which didn't really help matters. That kind of made things more murky and unclear. But the player, through his agent, then put out a statement saying that he was stepping away from the team. So what is it? Or could both be kind of true? And I guess that's probably the case here. Now, Frank Saravalli on a podcast was talking about this today with Perry, saying that as far as he knows, it definitely seems like it's disciplinary action on behalf of the Blackhawks, not necessarily trade related. This is not an asset protection. This is a case of being disciplined for something that happened. He said what happened, he doesn't know. Could he have been violated a team policy? Could it involve drugs or alcohol? Anything is possible because he doesn't really know, but can't confirm or deny what the reasoning could be. However, he said the fact that the player put out a statement saying he was stepping away, the player can say he's stepping away and the team can say you have to step away. You're not welcome here right now. Both of those statements can be true. So I don't necessarily think anybody's lying here. I just wonder that, what is the reason? There was a vicious rumor going around on social media, and if you've seen this, I just want to address it quickly because from what I can tell, enough reputable reporters have said there's absolutely no truth to it, but there was a nasty rumor going around that Corey Perry, during the mom's trip with the Blackhawks, had an affair with Connor Bedard's mother. We have no reason or evidence to suggest that ever happened. The account that started spreading it is not a reputable source, and enough reputable reporters have indeed denied that has any truth to it. So I don't think that we can move forward. But if anybody sees that on social media, you can ignore it. We have no reason to think that that's true whatsoever. But we do know, based on what Frank is saying, that it's definitely disciplinary on the team's part. But what he did to be disciplined, we have no bloody idea, and we may not ever know. Difficult to say. On the Montreal Canadiens, there's still talk that Samuel Montembeault does appear to be more likely to be traded than signed at this point. There's speculation that his contract, because he is having discussions with the Habs, that his request for an extension is going to be 3 to 4 years in term and upwards of $4 million per season. The term part is not terrible considering his age and everything, but the money he's looking for, I think the Habs feel that to be a little bit rich for their blood. That's more money than Jake Allen makes. If they keep Montembeault and Jake, then they're going to have, around $8 million tied up in goaltending. I don't know that either goalie is really, it's not a strong enough tandem to justify having $8 million in your cap tied up. They certainly don't want to lose Primo either, and they've made that perfectly and abundantly clear. Jake does have trade protection in his contract as well, where Montembeault does not. He's on an expiring deal, making $1 million. He's by far the easiest to trade. He's, in the middle range between ages, between all three goalies, but has a lot more experience at the NHL level than Primo does. So it just makes more sense here that he's the guy that gets moved. Lots of teams out there, like I said, between Edmonton, New Jersey, and other teams out there looking for goaltending help. There won't be a shortage of options. I don't see Montreal wanting to sign him to a 4x4 contract. I would be surprised if they did that. But if they do, well, then obviously that'll throw a wrench here, and maybe we'll see a different approach. But the belief is that he's looking for more than they're willing to give, and he will be the odd man out and will be traded at some point, and that they don't want to wait to the trade deadline to get this sorted out. They want to have this sorted sooner than later so they can have the two goalies that stay, get in a rhythm, and get in, more games played, and just kind of get away from the three-man system here. So let me know your thoughts on all of today's news and rumors down in the comments. We'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, of course, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with the latest news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.